Wheel Deal and win.
On a clear day, you can see forever, and on a night like this, you can't see very far at all. You could get a couple inches by the time this is all over.
That's right. That's why it's a good idea to call the Road Conditions Hotline before you drive anywhere tonight. The number 288-1047.
More news and weather coming up at 6. Preview now, John Bachman.
Thank you, Jim. We'll, of course, have much more on the snow and road conditions. Also, full details on today's testimony in the murder trial of Charles Lesage. And paint problems for some Ford trucks and GM cars, 88 through 91 models. We'll have a full story on that as well. All the news in 1/2 hour.
Thanks, John.
And finally, the nominations are out for the 35th Annual Grammy Awards.
Eric Clapton leads the way with 6 nominations, including one for this song, Tears in Heaven, nominated for Song of the Year. His album, Unplugged, is nominated for Album of the Year. Composer Alan Menken came in second with 5 nominations, including Album, Record, Song of the Year for the Beauty and the Beast soundtrack and song. And Menken tied with the Irish group The Chieftains, which was also nominated for 5 awards.
Never heard of them.
I haven't either, Chieftains. No. I couldn't even tell you what kind of music it is.
You have to run out and get a sample of your CD. That's it for this edition of Live at 5. Be safe on the roads if you're driving someplace tonight. Time now for nightly news. What's up with Saddam Hussein? We'll find out.
Saddam answers the UN ultimatum. His missiles will not be moved for now. American forces in Somalia go on the attack against local gunmen. And trapped in a harrowing snowstorm, a California family survives.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tonight, sitting in for Tom is Jane Pauley.
Good evening. Iraq told the United Nations tonight it won't back down for now. It won't pull out anti-aircraft missiles from an area patrolled by Allied warplanes. It won't give up its right of sovereignty. This with just 24 hours left in the UN's ultimatum to move those missiles or else. NBC's Fred Francis is at the Pentagon tonight with the latest. Fred?
Jane, Iraq is saying one thing at the UN and doing something else on the ground. Some missiles have been moved, but no one knows tonight if Saddam has blinked or is playing hide and seek. Satellite surveillance was spotty today because of cloud cover, so U.S. intelligence could not determine the exact movement of missile batteries in the no-fly zone. But Pentagon officials confirm that Saddam is moving some of the missiles out of a threatening triangle ambush pattern referred to by the Pentagon's Bob Hall.
There were this handful of missile sites that were deployed in a operational manner, in what we can have to consider a potentially hostile deployment pattern.
The triangle ambush pattern is dangerous because once an aircraft flies into the triangle, the missile batteries shoot simultaneously from at least 3 directions, leaving the pilot little chance of escape. Iraqi Deputy Prime Minister Tariq Aziz maintained today that it is the right of Iraq to deploy air defenses throughout the country. But the betting at the Pentagon tonight is that Iraq will move the missiles out of the no-fly zone. There are more than 100 warplanes and an arsenal of cruise missiles ready to strike the Iraqi anti-aircraft defenses by the weekend if they are not moved. And if Saddam simply hides or shifts the missiles, awaiting a new president and a new U.S. policy, it won't work.
Governor Clinton fully supports President Bush's policy, and Saddam Hussein should know that forceful policy will be continued when President-elect Clinton takes office.
Iraq's UN ambassador Nizar Hamdoum late today talked tough, but invited U.S. lawmakers to Baghdad to meet. That is seen here as a stalling gesture. And here, officials say, if the missiles are not on their way back to their original sites by this time tomorrow, U.S. warplanes and ships will be ready to act. Jane?
Thanks, Fred. Now to Somalia, where American forces today rocketed a powerful message to the gunmen of Mogadishu. The anarchy there must stop. A raging battle resulted in 1 American military casualty, a Marine wounded by friendly fire. NBC's Dennis Murphy in the Somali capital tonight.
At dawn today, the humanitarian mission turned into war. The U.S. military machine-gunned and rocketed a compound controlled by one of the warlords, General Adid. U.S. Marine convoys had repeatedly come under sniper fire here. Last night, the Marines ordered Adid's people to surrender the fortress. They didn't. This morning, Marine snipers opened fire as Aidid soldiers swung an anti-aircraft gun toward a helicopter gunship. The firefight involving 400 troops lasted for 20 minutes.
One Marine, I believe, shot another Marine in the case of mistaken identity.
The soldiers took the compound and seized the warlord's heavy weapons, anti-aircraft, mortars, and the like. Weapons the U.S. had previously agreed not to confiscate unless General Aidid used them. A few Somali men inside were taken captive, interrogated, and released. Witnesses said several Somalis were killed in the fighting. The U.S. burned down the ammunition warehouse and hauled its trophies home.
I believe in this particular environment, a strong display of resolve, determination, and force is the best way to prevent the next one from happening.
The U.S. is going after the bandits now, on foot patrol in streets that just last week were no-go zones, an escalation of show of force.
It is the increasing pressure to eliminate the technicals and the bandits, in Mogadishu especially, but even in the outlying area.
But Somalis are hard to intimidate. This afternoon, children stoned truck drivers delivering bags of desperately needed rice and beans for the Red Cross. They want to stop the truck and loot it.
If they can stop throwing rocks, too many of the drivers are getting injured. And you know we had one killed the other day.
The Marines can only chase the street toughs away for a few minutes. By dusk, the Americans had set up roadblocks searching every car for weapons. This operation has entered an aggressive new phase. The U.S. military is still out there helping to feed the starving, but now the soldiers are going street to street after the gunmen in one of the most violent cities of the world. Dennis Murphy, NBC News, Mogadishu.
Iraq and Somalia are among the foreign policy headaches Bill Clinton will inherit in just 13 days. But Bill Clinton campaigned and won on domestic policy, the economy, and trouble is looming for Clinton on that front as well. NBC's Andrea Mitchell has more from Little Rock. Andrea?
Jane, Bill Clinton's own advisors acknowledge he will not be able to keep his campaign promise to cut the budget deficit in half without raising taxes and cutting popular programs. Clinton and his economic team sat down for the first time to start making tough choices about taxes and spending cuts, the kind of choices candidates never make when they're running for office. Today, Clinton dismissed a parting shot from Bush Budget Director Richard Darman, who said Clinton's numbers don't add up.
I think Mr. Darman is an expert on math, not adding.
Will these condensed numbers mean, though, that you can't live up to your promise to cut the deficit?
This is not a... I have no other comment. I think Mr. Darman has proven himself an expert on math not adding up over the years.
Simple arithmetic proves Clinton is already in budget trouble. 50% of the budget is spent on popular benefit programs, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. 14% pays off interest on the national debt. A little more than a third is left to pay for all the other domestic and defense programs people expect. Transportation, housing, education, military bases. In his campaign manifesto, Clinton specifically promised no gasoline tax increase and hammered Paul Tsongas for suggesting one.
And a 50-cent hike in the gas tax over 10 years for the rest of us. But that's what went wrong in the 80s.
Now Clinton's considering a 15-cent gas tax increase if it's accompanied by other tax breaks for the poor and middle class. Budget experts believe he'll have to do a lot more.
To reduce the deficit substantially, we're going to have to cut meat, muscle out of government programs, and we're also going to have to raise taxes.
And Republicans aren't going to let people forget Clinton's promises.
We heard from President-elect Clinton's lips many, many times, I'm going to cut the deficit in half.
Clinton will have to scale back proposed new spending, raise more taxes, and slash popular programs to even get the deficit on a declining path. Jane?
Thanks, Andrea. Coming up on Nightly News, a 25-mile hike through chest-high snow, and a young father brings his stranded wife and baby help in time. And Brazil is aghast at a soap opera murder. An on-screen love story becomes a real-life crime story.
Day 3, fresh flowers. You can't help but notice all the fresh flowers aboard this Royal Caribbean ship. Someone's always scrubbing or polishing something. Our waiter Emilio told us the sheets are washed in soft water in case you've been out in the sun too long. Our ship sailed south. I head north, upstairs to the health spa.
You've got some Royal Caribbean coming. You rode the same rides, ate the same junk, got the same heartburn. But his antacid's different from yours. His Tums has calcium. Most antacids don't. Regular Rolaids uses an aluminum salt. This uses aluminum and magnesium. So does this. Of all these, only Tums helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium you need every day.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
Northern California is bracing for another wintry onslaught tonight. Storm warnings are flying in the northern Sierra Nevada region, where up to 15 feet of snow has fallen in the past 10 days. Out of all the disruption in daily routine has come an incredible story of survival by a California soldier, his wife, and infant son. Here's NBC's George Lewis.
Really know what was going Jim Stolpa and his wife Jennifer said this morning that they consider themselves and their 5-month-old son Clayton extremely lucky to be alive.
I kind of figured it's either stay here and die and not do anything, or try to do something and die that way. But so we did what we could and we tried to get out of there.
On Tuesday of last week, the family left the San Francisco Bay Area heading for the funeral of Jim's grandmother in Pocatello, Idaho. But snow shut down Interstate 80, the main route over the Sierras. The Stolpas headed for the back roads, but became stuck just after crossing from California into Nevada. They headed out on foot looking for help, but it was rough going through the deep snow.
I would just be so tired, and I would just get so discouraged every time we'd come around another mountain and the highway still wasn't there. I would start losing faith, but Jim was right behind me, pushing me the whole way.
I'd either tell her, I told her, we're not doing this for you, or we're not doing it for me, we're doing it for the baby.
After a 12-hour hike through waist-high snowdrifts, with Jennifer too exhausted to continue, the couple found a cave. She and the baby sought shelter while Jim went for help. Jennifer breastfed the baby and kept herself going, eating cookies and Doritos, and getting moisture from snow and ice.
I was just praying that Jim would make it, I've never prayed to God more that he would make it. That was all I could think about.
The prayers were answered yesterday as Jim stumbled into a road maintenance station after a 22-hour hike. He was able to tell rescuers the exact spot where he had left his wife and baby. The authorities are calling the Army PFC a real hero. Jennifer agrees.
He is more than a hero to me. Yes, he is. Yeah, I don't think I could have picked anyone better.
Doctors say the couple could lose some toes to frostbite, but that otherwise they and their child are in remarkably good shape. George Lewis, NBC News.
Another story tonight. In this age of living dangerously, the Defense Department says there are some 1,100 former military installations, now private property, on which unexploded ammunition could be buried. One case in point is in Washington, D.C. NBC's Robert Hager reports.
Spring Valley, an exclusive neighborhood where George Bush once lived. Homes can go for $1 million. But now in an area of new construction, a startling discovery dug from 2 pits. World War I shells, 75 years old, hundreds of them so far. A few with fuses, which may be live after all these years. Authorities aren't sure. A few others with liquid inside, most likely dangerous chemicals such as mustard gas or phosgene. Construction workers cleared out fast Tuesday, and 100 residents living downwind have been evacuated during daylight hours. Their citizens group headed by Jeffrey Kraskin.
The neighbors that already are living here are very concerned for their children. They're very concerned about their child being in the backyard and digging and, surprise, Mom, what did I find?
Some stayed away at a nearby recreation center, Sandy Birdsall.
I'm glad I'm not there.
Now, old blueprints have been found showing the nearby campus of American University had been converted during World War I into a major center for training and for development and research of chemical weapons. Dorothy Coleman's father worked there.
Everything was a little bit hush-hush about this whole operation.
Snapshots of the area at the time show signs warning stop, gas, troops wearing gas masks, and a soldier on the left here sitting on a keg marked TNT. Chemical weapons the U.S. was known to be working with at the time were mostly blistering agents or gases that caused choking and vomiting. Nothing so terrifying as nerve gas, but dangerous enough to be lethal.
Tonight, while the digging for weapons continues, the military is also digging frantically through its archives, trying to learn more about what was dumped and where. Until that's known, authorities have no idea how long the cleanup will take. or what they'll find. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Well, the numbers are in. It was a green Christmas in retail stores. The best sales for the holiday season in 4 years, with one exception, California. On Wall Street today, a plunge in the bond market pushed stocks sharply lower. Trading was extremely heavy.
Help, can someone take my pain and make it disappear?
Finally, someone understands all pain is not the same. New aspirin-free Bayer Select. Yes, aspirin-free.
For the help where it hurts.
Bayer Select. Not one, but 5 aspirin-free products. Sinus, headache, nighttime, menstrual, and arthritis pain relief. Because all pain is not the same.
For the help where it hurts. With Bayer Select.
There's an ingredient in Efferdent you may not expect. Antibacterial Efferdent, made with Arm & Hammer baking soda. Leaves dentures baking soda fresh and clean.
Which do you think will put potassium into your body faster? The banana or the California prune? Go.
Sweet, delicious California prunes. Find out how good they really are.
You ever look at all the different ways plastic makes life better? Like these plastic helmets that help make it safer to take Sam here for a ride. And plastic insulation that keeps our homes warm and saves energy. But what about these plastic foam cups? Well, they save energy too, because they take less energy to make than many other disposable cups. And they keep sodas nice and cold. Right, Sam? To learn more, call this number for a free booklet and take another look at plastic.
America Close Up tonight, the issue of style. We're due for a change on January 20th when Bill Clinton is inaugurated as president. He's about to get the treatment, his habits and tastes analyzed and copied, and we're going to suffer the results. It's inevitable. Peanuts, jelly beans, pork rinds. Now what? NBC's Keith Morrison.
This may look to you like Jell-O. All right, it is. But you see, Bill Clinton likes it, so it's Clinton chic. Really?
The Clintons apparently had Jell-O salad for both Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner.
This may seem strange, but all over the country are people who think lots of things will be very different because Bill Clinton is going to the White House. Of course, getting agreement about what can be rather difficult.
Well, fried food like fried catfish could make a comeback.
We believe that food will be viewed in the 90s in part as medicine. We're calling it foodaceuticals.
So broccoli is back?
I do not like broccoli.
And Clinton does? So why is he always eating junk food? Still, there's a notion out there that all kinds of things will get the Clinton treatment.
Clinton in power is going to change everything about how we think. It certainly affects the trends. It's really going to be a very different time.
That different? Well, how about this?
You could argue that this is the death knell of the WASP elite.
Meaning one assumes that this sort of thing won't float anymore as something to aspire to.
The saxophone has replaced the speedboat in Washington.
Clinton tells us he's big on teamwork, inclusiveness, touchy-feely stuff. And so what's Clinton chic?
More teamwork, more emphasis on getting along, and the old idea of the boss who says, I don't get ulcers, I give them, is kind of out the window.
Well, of course, that's poppycock, isn't it?
The hot word is...
Lately, trend watchers have been arguing quite a lot about this.
I don't think he's going to set trends. I think he's going to be the victim of trends.
Still, people accustomed to being on top of the heap might worry a little about what Clinton brings with him.
Icon toppling is probably the lead trend in the 90s. Anything that was big in the 80s, it was bad. We don't like those big images anymore.
Hollywood is very much into this sort of thing. You remember how they gave us a big, tough Rambo?
I don't think we could see a Rambo picture now with a straight face. I think the mood has changed too much.
And Madonna? Wild Madonna might not work anymore?
There's an increasing edge of narcissism that's going to sort of be out of touch. I mean, you can just see it now. Pauley sure is the park ranger, you know? Tom Cruise is the urban counselor.
It's amazing the things that are getting pinned on Clinton chic.
even though...
It's not clear what Bill Clinton is.
Have you heard about grunge fashion? These are very expensive clothes from famous designers, even if they look like thrown-together cast-offs. Clinton's chic, just because they happen to come out this year. You could wear them while networking late at night over pizza or playing the saxophone.
It's going to be a very, very beautiful time.
It is?
False hopes. I think there's going to be a lot of false hopes.
Anyway, it's apparently going to be different.
And Elvis has been seen in Texas.
Of course, some things are always in. Keith Morrison, NBC News, Los Angeles.
I'll have more when Nightly News continues.
Give me one good reason to try new Serenity with Dry Layer Plus. Hugs.
Johnson & Johnson.
This new blue layer, only Serenity has it. Pulls the wetness in quicker, away from my skin. I feel drier.
The Plus, odor protection. I want that.
Drier, fresher? That just feels cleaner. The free sample. Just call this toll-free number.
New Dry Layer Plus. Another good reason to love Serenity Guards from Johnson & Johnson.
When I hear the rain, I know I'm in for it. The dampness, the chill. Arthritis pain seems to come from every joint in my body. For pain like this, now instead of aspirin, I take Advil. Advil contains the same medicine my doctor often prescribes for arthritis pain. In fact, for minor arthritis pain, doctors recommend Advil most. With Advil, I'm on my way. Advil, tablets and caplets. Advanced medicine for pain.
Hi.
Hi.
Was it something I said?
No, just business.
How long?
A month.
That's long.
I came over last night. You had company.
You mean my brother? He just loves my coffee.
Your brother.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Hi.
Don't tell me you forgot to pack your Taster's Choice.
Listen, I thought you should know I'm going to be in Paris.
Paris? How romantic.
Well, it can be.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss. And now Sensodyne has fluoride.
Fluoride, great.
New Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
Here's a quick check now of some of today's other news. Stormy weather off Scotland again prevented salvage efforts on that battered tanker. 2 oil slicks continue to spread, one of them threatening salmon fishing grounds up the coast. In the standoff over those Palestinian deportees, Israel has agreed to Red Cross inspection. The more than 400 men formed the number 799, the UN resolution condemning their expulsion from Israel. In Mexico, at least 10 people have drowned in floodwaters near the California border, most in remote shanty towns, with water as high as 5 feet. A disturbing phenomenon in American schools in recent years is rising crime on school property. One method of dealing with the problem is being tried in 25 Texas high schools. It's called Crime Stopper. NBC's Jim Cummins tells us it's getting results.
For the kids in the Grand Prairie school system, crime may not pay, but reporting it does.
Texas Crime Stoppers may help you.
The past 3 years, they've been urged to call the statewide Crime Stoppers telephone number.
Suspects cut off a combination lock, install a CD player in its case.
A board of students decides the reward, up to $100 for the best tips.
Okay, for 60. Okay, so I guess 60 it'll be.
The results have been astonishing. Almost $83,000 in stolen property has been recovered from student tips, with a payout of only $1,200 in rewards.
They're going to call in, they deserve the money.
The informants remain anonymous.
Sure, and the kids won't participate if they know they're going to be recognized.
Not at all.
Not at all.
It takes guts, I think, to call even if you stay anonymous.
This student called Crime Stoppers and said one of his classmates had a gun and was planning to use it on Assistant Principal Calvin Harrison, the school disciplinarian.
Well, sure enough, we checked it out the next morning when the kid came into school, and he had a concealed .38 on him, fully loaded.
He was intending to use it on you.
That's the information we got from another kid.
This kid, his reward, $100.
Yeah, I was kind of excited about it, I guess, for the reward.
in a way, but I was also excited that, you know, I did something right. And I guess you'd say ratting on this certain person.
So far, more than 10% of the students have become informants. Most of them just call the main office with their tips now. The crime rate is down in Grand Prairie schools. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Grand Prairie, Texas.
A soap opera murder in Brazil has that country in an uproar when we continue.
Dear Folgers, I run a bed and breakfast. When I overslept one morning, the Folgers switch saved my reputation. The percolator wasn't even set up. So I secretly switched Folgers crystals for the brewed coffee I normally serve.
This is delicious.
Well, the taste and aroma must have fooled them, because they were shocked when I revealed the switch and joked about sounding like one of your restaurant commercials.
Folgers Crystals, proven to surprise fresh brewed coffee drinkers.
Sincerely, Janet Turley. Thank you.
When Ford refined the full-size car, we made its shape more aerodynamic, its V8 engine more powerful, and yet more efficient. We also added to its comfort and even its safety with available anti-lock brakes and dual airbags. But through it all, one thing about the Ford Crown Victoria has remained the same. It's still as quiet as a Rolls-Royce.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
You are about to change the way you take cold medicine forever. Now you can take your favorite juice with all its great taste and stir in new Dristan Juice Mix-In Cold Remedy. Dristan will ease your cough, nasal congestion, fever, and soothe your pain without drowsiness. New Dristan Juice Mix-In is the newest way to take care of your cold. Also look for original Dristan cold tablets. Dristan, the face of relief today.
Did you tell Papa?
Tell Papa what?
This Kellogg's muesli cereal tastes like Grandma's.
Our family secret? Europeans are puzzled. Does the great taste of Kellogg's Mueslix come from their secret recipe?
Fruits, nuts, whole grains.
It's perfect.
Impossible.
Tastes like ours, really.
Good morning, children.
Mama?
Why, this is the best we've ever made. But
Kellogg's Mueslix, the European secret for great taste.
Soap operas are not unique to the United States. Neither is murder. Brazil has both at once. NBC's Sarah James on Love and Death in Rio.
She was Brazil's sultry soap opera queen, 22-year-old Daniela Perez. Her murder has that nation in an uproar. A true-to-life tragedy picks up where the script ends. The actress, found stabbed in the chest more than a dozen times. The confessed killer, the man who plays her boyfriend on the top-rated show, Body and Soul, Guilherme de Padua. He says he killed Daniela with these scissors. Hundreds of Brazilians marched on the jail, calling for his death. The pair had just taped an episode in which she dumped him. And now authorities say that may have been truth as well as fiction. They think Daniela spurned her co-star's advances, and he killed her in a jealous rage. Some believe that the other woman in this story, de Padua's wife, was consumed with envy for Daniela and drove her husband to murder. The story got double billing with Brazil's other true-to-life melodrama, the resignation of President Fernando Collor, who was impeached for taking millions in bribes. And it's even caught the attention of Brazilians living in the U.S.
Brazilians are very emotional, right? And they watching soap opera, they get so involved, you know, became like the real life. They can't live without the soap opera.
Somebody that you see every day on the television, and if they die, it's a shocking situation. It's the same as like Elvis Presley when he died. Everybody was surprised.
In Brazil, 40 million people watched Daniela on TV, and thousands packed the church for her funeral, including her inconsolable husband and her mother, who writes the soap opera. She's vowed to continue, but wants someone else to script the episode, killing off Daniela and Guilherme's characters. In Latin America's largest country, millions of viewers are sure to stay tuned. Sarah James, NBC News, New York.
That's Nightly News for this Thursday. For Tom Brokaw, I'm Jane Pauley. Good night.
Ahead from your 24-hour news source, another wallop from Mother Nature. Snowplows take to the road, but not before many central Iowans are caught off guard by a quick-hitting winter storm.
And roadways are dangerous in some areas of central Iowa. Very slick conditions and quite a bit of snow up to the north. I'm Ed Wilson. I'll have a road condition report.
Well, the snows are certainly not a surprise, but some of the snow totals may surprise you. I'll have more on that, plus your weekend forecast just ahead.
Daughter was missing.
And another emotional day for the family of murder victim Rosalind Barnes. Day 2 of testimony in the Charles Lesage murder trial.
Plus an Orange City explosion. All the day's news is coming up next.
For low-cal favorites at low prices, shop Hy-Vee. Weight Watchers frozen entrees or desserts, 3 for $5. Starkist Chunk Light Tuna, 48 cents. Hy-Vee Light Yogurt, 3 for $1. And Texas Ruby Red Grape.